Tonight, we're tracking a major shift in global energy markets, one that unfolded with remarkable speed, driven by a single statement from the White House. Oil prices, which had surged to a 4-year high in the aftermath of a U.S. strike on Iran, have now fallen sharply more than $10 per barrel after President Donald Trump suggested that the war in West Asia could, in his words, end very soon. Let's break down exactly what happened, what it means for you, and why the world is watching this very carefully tonight. To understand today's dramatic drop, you first need to understand the dramatic rise that preceded it. Just days ago, oil markets were in full panic mode. Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil prices, had spiked to its highest level in 4 years. Why? Because the United States had launched a military strike against Iran. Iran, of course, is one of the world's major oil producers. It sits in the Persian Gulf, one of the most strategically critical waterways on the planet. When conflict touches that region, energy markets respond immediately, and they did. Traders, analysts, and governments around the world were bracing for a prolonged conflict that could disrupt oil supply, close key shipping routes, and send prices spiraling even higher. At one point, market analysts were openly discussing the possibility of oil hitting $100 per barrel, a threshold that would send shockwaves through economies still recovering from years of inflation and post-pandemic financial strain. Gas prices, airline tickets, food costs, heating bills. When oil goes up, everything goes up. Ordinary people feel it, businesses feel it, governments feel it. That's why the world was watching every development so closely. Then came President Trump's words. Speaking to reporters, Trump said he believed the war in West Asia could end very soon. He expressed optimism, his characteristic brand of confident optimism, that a resolution was within reach. He did not provide specific details. He did not announce a ceasefire. He did not confirm that negotiations were underway at any advanced stage. But in the world of financial markets, words matter enormously. Within hours of Trump's comments hitting the newswire, oil prices began to fall. And they didn't fall gently. Brent crude dropped more than $10 per barrel, a decline of 10.6%, settling at $84.51 per barrel. To put that in perspective, a 10% single-day drop in oil prices is not normal. It is significant. It reflects a massive, rapid shift in how traders and investors perceive risk. One moment, the world was pricing in a prolonged Middle East war. The next moment, the possibility, just the possibility of peace, was enough to reverse weeks of upward momentum. That is the power of geopolitical signaling in commodity markets. Now, some of you might be wondering, how can one statement cause such a large market move? No ceasefire was signed. No peace deal was announced. The conflict didn't stop. So why did prices fall so dramatically? The answer lies in how oil markets work. Oil is what traders call a geopolitical commodity. Its price is not just determined by how much oil is being pumped out of the ground today. It is also perhaps even more significantly determined by what traders expect to happen in the future. When a conflict breaks out near major oil-producing regions, traders immediately start pricing in what they call a risk premium. They add extra value to oil because of the chance, even just the chance, that supply could be disrupted. Ships might not be able to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Pipelines could be damaged. Production facilities could be taken offline. That risk premium can add $5, $10, even $20 per barrel to the price of oil, even if not a single barrel of oil has actually been affected yet. When Trump signaled that peace might be near, traders started removing that risk premium. They began unwinding their bets on higher prices. And the result was a sharp, swift correction downward. This is why markets are sometimes described as forward-looking machines. They don't just respond to what is happening, they respond to what might happen. And they adjust constantly as new information comes in. So what does all of this mean for you, the person watching at home, filling up your gas tank, paying your electricity bill, running a small business? In the short term, falling oil prices are good news. If prices at the pump were beginning to creep up in anticipation of a prolonged Middle East conflict, today's drop could provide some relief. Airlines, shipping companies, and manufacturers, industries that are deeply sensitive to energy costs, will also welcome the decline. For the broader economy, lower oil prices can help ease inflationary pressure. Central banks, including the Federal Reserve, have been navigating a delicate balance between controlling inflation and avoiding recession. A spike in oil prices would have complicated that picture enormously. Today's drop eases some of that pressure, at least for now. But, and this is important, nothing has been resolved yet. Trump's statement was optimistic. But optimism is not a peace deal. The underlying conflict between the United States and Iran has not ended. The tensions that caused oil to spike in the first place are still very much present. If the situation escalates again, if there are further military exchanges, if Iran responds aggressively, if shipping lanes are threatened, prices could surge again, potentially faster than they fell today. Markets gave back the risk premium. but they can add it right back. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Iran is not just any country in the Middle East. It is the world's seventh largest oil producer, and it controls geography that is absolutely critical to global energy supply. The Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula, is the single most important oil choke point on Earth. Approximately 20% of the world's oil supply passes through that strait every single day. Any conflict that threatens the Strait of Hormuz sends tremors through every oil-dependent economy on the planet, and that means virtually every economy on the planet. Beyond oil, Iran occupies a central role in the geopolitics of the entire region. It has relationships with Hezbollah in Lebanon, with armed groups in Iraq and Syria, with the Houthi movement in Yemen. Any conflict with Iran is not a contained bilateral affair. It has the potential to ripple outward in ways that are difficult to predict and even more difficult to control. This is why Trump's language, even vague, unsubstantiated optimism, carries such weight. Not just because of what it might mean for oil markets, but because of what it might mean for the trajectory of an extraordinarily dangerous and consequential regional conflict. Tonight, as we watch these developments unfold, several key questions remain unanswered. What exactly did Trump mean when he said the war could end very soon? Are there active back-channel negotiations happening that the public is not yet aware of? Is there a diplomatic framework being quietly assembled? Or was this the kind of optimistic improvisation that the president is known for, a statement made in the moment without a specific plan behind it? We do not know the answers yet, and markets, which hate uncertainty almost as much as they hate bad news, will be watching closely for any clarification. What we do know is this: oil prices dropped more than $10 in a single day. That is a remarkable headline-level event. It tells us something important about how fragile market sentiment currently is, how much of recent price increases were driven by fear rather than by actual supply disruption. It also tells us how quickly things can change. In the current environment, a single speech, a single tweet, a single phone call can move billions of dollars in global markets within minutes. For viewers at home, the message is simple: stay informed. The situation in West Asia is fluid. The energy market implications are real, and the consequences for gas prices, for inflation, for geopolitics will be felt for months to come. I'm Ivana Smith. We will continue following this story as it develops, and we will bring you any updates as they come in throughout the evening.